what exactly is happening behind. There they are, they're all coming up. So you see the attack that has tried to split this field, largely launched by Nicky Verhoeven, the rider who punctured, and they're all clawing the way back in dreadfully cold conditions. I've actually seen one or two riders sucking their fingers to try and get some warmth into their fingertips. They are freezing out there. Look at the face here of Clark Killian on the left. Anderson comes through. A rough, tough Aussie, born in London, can't remember it. He left when he was 1 year old and went to live in Australia. And he really loves these conditions, and he's driving this group on because he's determined not to let Van der Poel stay clear to the end. Van der Poel, in fact, broke clear from a group of some 13 men at around the 100 miles covered point, leaving himself 50 miles to go in these conditions. And I don't know whether it's a calculated risk he's taking, but quite honestly, that's a long way to survive today, because this group has rid itself of the majority of the 146 starters. Most of them that are left in the race, that is, are riding behind this group by about 2.5 minutes. A number of riders have come through the finish here in Meersen, and they've all climbed off, as they say, and gone for an early shower. There's Stephen Roche. So Roche is back in contention again. He has tremendous form this year. He won the Criterium National, which is one of France's top races. He was third last week in Belgium, and that's only 40 kilometres away from here in Liège. And so he really is confident of a good performance. Other riders in this group we should watch out for too, of course, Henny Kuiper and Stephen Bauer, the Canadian, because Bauer is one of the sensations of professional cycling this year. He won the bronze medal in the Los Angeles Olympic Games last year, was snapped up, signed for the La Vie Claire team of Bernard Hinault, and then after only 3 weeks as a professional, he went to Barcelona and he won the bronze medal in the Professional World Championship, and that was unheard of before in professional cycling. Now he's in this breakaway, we've seen him on the attack, but for the time being at least, he's back in the safety, comparative warmth of this leading group. And there they are down there. The crowds are immense, really, because the rain, and we've had hailstones, flurries of snow, it's sweeping across the open spaces, and yet the crowds have gone way out into the countryside to try and see the riders in this area of Little Switzerland. They've in fact climbed something like 14 of the 18 little hills that they're scheduled to do during this 6.5-hour race, and this looks to me as though it might well be Henny Kuiper, I think, off the back of that leading group, unless he's just gone ahead from the front. But the familiar crouch style of the 1972 Olympic champion is trying to get back on terms here with the little group ahead. So Henny Kuiper had a mixed race so far today. He's never won the Amstel Gold. He's always wanted to. He's won just about everything else in his 10-year career, but he hasn't won the Amstel Gold. He's fighting now to stay in contention with the group being driven on by Phil Anderson, Stephen Roche, but he's coming back well. Well, no sign of the white jersey of Nicky Verhoeven having rejoined this group, and that really is a shame, because I thought that Verhoeven was going to do what most people would think is impossible, transfer from the amateur ranks to the professional ranks and steal a classic. But he's not here, and I think his flat tyre came at very much the wrong time. His team manager, Ben Van Erp, and it was a teammate there of Jeff Brewers at Verhoeven that we just caught a glimpse of. Brewers is not looking happy. Here he is. He knows now his team leader, Verhoeven, is not going to return to this group. He's back in the bunch. And I say, Dickie, there he is. So he is back in the group. And what a tremendous ride this is. Verhoeven has come back from a flat front wheel. Johnny Brewers here behind him, I would suggest, has dropped off from that chasing group. He's gone back for Verhoeven, number 111, found him, and he's now pacing him back up to the leading group. Now, surely, Dickie, we are seeing here the birth of a new professional champion, because a year ago, he won the amateur Dutch title. He signed a contract for a new team, which has been formed around him. And only at the start this morning, I spoke with his manager, Ben Van Erp, who normally manages amateur riders, not professionals. And Ben says, oh, my riders are all sick. They won't do any good in this weather. And now we have two of them in what is turning out to be the decisive move in the Amstel Gold race. So you can see the way the field is split up here from the helicopter. This was 18 strong, this group, just half an hour ago. And an attack by Verhoeven, although he punctured, has caused the split in pursuit of Van der Poel. And it's because this split has formed with still the best part of an hour to race, which points out to me that Van der Poel will be a very lucky man indeed to survive out there alone. Concentration here of Jerry Knatum, and the water running down his face, dripping off the end of his nose and chin. Well, Jerry's seen it all, a world champion in 1978. He's ridden the Tour de France, of course, a TI Rally. He's worn the yellow jersey on at least 2 occasions in the Tour de France, in the colours of Rally. now he's signed to ride alongside Sean Kelly. The only trouble is Sean Kelly's not here today. Kelly, in fact, riding in the Tour of Spain, which is a 3-week race, and of course runs through the Amstel Gold period. And still the pressure on. But you have to say the riders here certainly have not slowed down one little bit this last couple of hours. The rain started, in fact. I suspect after 50 miles in the saddle, the rain began to fall. The riders knew it was coming. They went searching for their capes, put them all on, and then settled down to a very cold ride indeed. By the time they get back to the finish at Meersen, they'll have been in the saddle for almost 7 hours. Just another day in the life of a professional cyclist. By the end of this season, the majority will have pedalled something like 30,000 miles. And even at this stage of the year, most of them have ridden 10,000 miles, and that's more than I normally do in my car. So, one or two riders still struggling at the back. It looks to me as though possibly this is Ludo Peters trying to rejoin the group. Coming back into the action. And in fact, it's Joop Zoetemelk, and look at the face of an old man now. He's been second in the Tour de France on at least 5 occasions, and he really is feeling his age today, because the cold, icy wind of Holland, his home country, is ripping through that racing jersey. Zoetemelk now lives married to a French girl. He lives over in Paris, where he in fact runs a hotel. He says he bought it for the wife because he's just the baggage boy. He likes to see the guests to the room, and his wife does all the work. Well, in between carrying the bags, he's back here riding the Amstel Gold, and what a great cyclist he really has been. A former Olympic champion, way back, if memory tells me correctly, in 1968. So, Zoetemelk joins the back, and the group stays together, and still no sign of Adrie van der Poel. We haven't had a chance to break through to the leaders yet. Our motorbikes, rightly so, concentrating on this extremely interesting breakaway. The chance possibly we'll see a counter-attack. There's Stephen Roach in the green bottom to his jersey there. And there you can see the whole group has now come back together again. 18 miles to go through to the finish, and we pan now right down the field. And no sign at all. One rider trying to get on terms. He's got something like 3/4 of a minute, I would say, to bridge the gap to Stephen Roach, Phil Anderson, and everybody else in this leading group we can see up the road. Well, there's the group now, and it's beginning once again to spread eagle. We haven't had chance yet to see Adrie van der Poel. This is Nicky Verhoeven, the Dutch amateur champion, back on the front, back in the action. The Amstel Gold race really isn't over yet. Van der Poel is not at the finish, and I think, Dickie, we are going to see a tremendous end to this classic in atrocious conditions. But for the time being, back to you. Yes, can hear you, Keith. Thank you. I think we're going to have a good finish. He's Kukilion attacking again now. I don't think Van der Poel's going to survive. I hope we pick... Whatever happens, Keith, we're going to have to VT the moment of capture if it happens. Yeah. Okay, I'll just take commentary and then pick it up from that. Yes, I listened to that, so I understood that. Yeah. Right, okay. Yeah. We'll work it out just a sec. I think we might be catching Van der Poel. I'm not sure. Hold on. We're still working it out. Hang on. No, still working. It's about 7.5 miles to go when you come through there. That will mean approximately 18 minutes. Okay. We don't know. I've got a feeling they will, because they haven't given up one little bit here. You know, they're all still in the action. I think they'll catch him. Well, I'll just say, well, as you join us, Dickie, you know, he's been caught. They're 15 miles from the finish now. That's about 43 minutes from the finish. About 8 minutes past 4 finish time. Quite right, Dickie, about 8 miles actually. We're watching now the remnants of that 18-strong group. Van der Poel has been caught and swept away, but the rider ahead of this group is Nicky Verhoeven. The amateur champion last year of Holland, who punctured, is now out in front. It was a wonderful attack because what he did, he saw Phil Anderson lean on his following car and talk to his manager, attacked on the other side of the road, and he's gone. His lead is about 15 seconds. Anderson is still in this group. Roach has been dropped. This is Jerry Knateman, and for the last few minutes, back to you, Dickie. Oh, Roach is gone. About 8 miles to go, London, which is approximately 15 to 16 minutes, I suppose. ETA have finished now 10 past 4. Uh, 10 past 4. 10 minutes over 4. And so at the moment, as you can see, Nico Verhoeven is in all sorts of trouble here. As we're coming away now from Valkenburg towards the finish, it's Jerry Knateman, the grand old man, the world champion of the late 70s, putting up the ride of his life now, who comes to join Nicky Verhoeven at the front. So as the Amstel Gold comes into its final 5 miles, Nicky Verhoeven has been caught by Jerry Knateman, the world champion in 1978, and he attacks. As soon as he contacted Nicky Verhoeven, Jerry Knateman has attacked. Verhoeven is trying very, very hard indeed to master Jerry Knateman, but Knateman has ridden a magnificent race today, and it looks to me as though he is now going to go on from here to victory in the Amstel Gold. Well, Dickie, as you can see, the weather is still atrocious. The rider's now about 3.5 miles from the finish, and there is another change at the front. You remember early on we had Adrie van der Poel, seemingly the winner on the road. The cold weather got to him. He was swept up by this chasing group, which was originally some 18 riders. Then there was an attack by Nicky Verhoeven. He's the rider on just past out of our picture now in the white. He seemed to have the race nicely sewn up with 5 miles to go. Then he was caught by Jerry Knetemann on his own. And Jerry Knetemann is now clear by just about 15 seconds. We have here Brewers 112, and number 63 is Jeff Leekens, and they're trying to get on terms now with the leader. Brewers has been a magnificent teammate to Verhoeven today. He helped him back when he had that front wheel puncture, but now Verhoeven has paid the price of all his efforts of 6.5 hours in the saddle, and he's fallen back. Now it's up to Brewers here in the white to try and work his way up to this man, Jerry Knetemann, now on the outskirts of Meersen for the last time today. He's been in the saddle since 9:30 this morning. The man who very nearly died in weather just like this 2 years ago in Belgium is now right back at the top. And I'm not surprised that the race director, Herman Cross, has come alongside him there to say, Jerry, you're almost home, because there isn't anybody in this race who would have given Jerry Knetemann a hope of winning this race today. He was second in it in 1977. He's never won it, and this race over the years, remember this is the 20th anniversary today, has been won 10 times by Dutch riders, but never by Jerry Knetemann, the world champion in 1978. And Knetemann, they often call him the Clown Prince because he's a joker. He makes everybody laugh. I can remember when he won Paris-Nice a few years ago, he was asked how good his condition was, and he said, it's not as good as my wife's and she's pregnant. Well, Knetemann now is looking good. He's about 2.5 miles from the finish, and the race behind is totally and utterly shattered all around the Limburg region of Holland. 146 riders set out this morning. I doubt if 40 are still on the road. They're soaked through, they're wet, they're miserably cold, and this is the remnants of the 18 men that have kept this Amstel Gold race alive. In the group was Stephen Roach. In the group was also Claude Coquillon, the world champion. Both those riders dropped out the back of the group when it split into two groups of about 8 and 6 riders towards the Kouwberg climb, which is a vicious little hill just outside Valkenburg, which is about 10 miles from the finish. And as a result of all this toing and froing from the groups, Verhoeven paid the penalty in cycling jog, and he blew up when he was caught by Jerry Knetemann. Knetemann didn't give him a chance to get his second wind. He immediately attacked the young former Dutch amateur champion and is now here in the lead. So Knetemann being cheered on by this very partisan Dutch crowd, and of all the people that they would love to see win the Amstel Gold, this is the man. When he had that serious accident, he hit a car, in fact, that was badly parked during a race. He lay in the road for a long time, and he kept his finger on a pulsating open artery, which the doctor said later kept him alive. Within 3 days, he had over 3,000 letters of condolence and best wishes to come back soon. Knetemann went on television in tears to announce his retirement. He'd never ride again. So what a story this is turning out to be. In fact, here we have the 20th anniversary of the Amstel Gold race, and not a man watching would prefer anybody other than Jerry Knetemann now to come home and take what is a marvellous prize here. In addition to the £1,000, he gets a very nice silver beaker that will look very nice on his sideboard, because it's one of the big trophies that Knetemann has never won. He used to ride for TI Rally, and indeed in the Tour de France he wore the leader's yellow jersey on a number of occasions for them. He now rides in the team of Sean Kelly, and Kelly, although he's away in the Tour of Spain where he's winning stages this week, I'm sure that Kelly too will be delighted when he hears Knetemann's kept his team on the roster and back home in Holland. These are the chasers. It's Leekens on the front, and Brewers, number 112, who is here in second place. And look at his face now, because an amateur last year, Brewers could well be on for second place here. He's only a handful of seconds ahead of the remnants of the group, which includes Phil Anderson. And Anderson looks a very, very tired man indeed, paying the price, I suppose, for being one of the race favourites. He's had to do all the work himself, and if he hasn't been capable, nobody willing to help take Anderson up to the leader. The lonely figure, as we look out of our helicopter now, I estimate about 1.5 miles from the finish. That's the lonely figure of Jerry Knetemann. I'm sure he won't look over his shoulder yet. He'll just concentrate on keeping his rhythm. He must be feeling absolutely frozen solid. He's been in the saddle for almost 7 hours, and that puts this Amstel Gold race on record as one of the longest editions. The riders at one stage, and there's the kite, the magic kite, 1 kilometre from the finish for Jerry Knateman. Applause from the crowd. So Knateman is bringing to an end one of the coldest, wettest, but most interesting Amstel Gold races. And he always wears dark glasses, Dickie, even when it's snowing. So he hasn't persuaded the sun to come out, but Knateman now finding the reserve somewhere. And if you can just see his face, he really is suffering now. But he's coming home to what he may well count as one of his best ever victories, because Knateman has come back literally from death's doorstep to win one of the world's greatest classic rides. And he's done it in conditions that you wouldn't take the dog for a walk in. So Knateman comes home, and here he is down through the streets of Meersen now. Almost 7 hours. He allows himself the privilege of a look over his right shoulder because he had the benefit of the bend. I don't think he'll see anybody. He swings now to the left. He knows he's on the final run-in. He'll then flick gently to the right. Then he'll see the finishing banner. Jerry Knateman, the former champion of the world, has won the race he always wanted. The Amstel Gold race at a time in his career when he thought it was finished. Knateman puts his head down. The crowd at the finish line here are ecstatic. They know Knateman's going to win it now. He still manages to grit his teeth. There's nobody behind him. He made his winning move 5 miles from the finish, and now he puts his hands in the air, and I will guarantee those are tears of unbelievable joy streaming down Knateman's face. Now wait for it, because this is a sprint for second place. Brewers behind, and I think it is still Jeff Leekens here at the front of the group. A man who has been on form for the whole of the classic season is Leekens on the right, and the Brewers on the left, and Brewers on our left as he comes up here. And I don't think he's got it. No, Brewers hasn't got the legs. 6.5 hours has proved too much for him. Nonetheless, third place for a new professional is very good indeed. So there we have the first three. A romantic and great victory now for Jerry Knateman. The second was Jeff Leekens of Belgium. Third was Brewers from Holland. And this is Patrick Verslijs, finished fourth. Well, Dickie, tremendous race, and what a great winner.
Kijk ze er eens uitzien. Kijk die mannen eens geleden hebben. We krijgen de spurtwit voor de 5e plaats. De spurtwit gaan we naar kijken. Voor de 5e plaats met Luc Peters aan de leiding. Met de Phil Anderson die daar wordt genomen dat hij kan inzetten. De spurtteam op de 5e plaats heeft met Phil Anderson. Die gaat van hangen voor Nico Verhoeven. 5 Phil Anderson, 6 Nico Verhoeven en 7 Luc Peters.
Thanks, Keith. There's all the tears. There's all the tears, boys. Yeah, give him a handkerchief.